Hey there, nerds. Jimmy Palmquist here. So I got to finally see Batman vs. Superman. And why spend money on the thing that was in theater? Why not go directly to the director's cut? Which is what I did. I watched it on iTunes. I am not here to tell you what was different about the theatrical version and the director's cut because I did not see the theatrical version. I have no clue. My first reaction is I didn't think it was as bad as people were saying from seeing it in the theater. Now, that being said, my expectations were gone long ago. I really hated the trailers. I just didn't expect anything from this movie. And then when the reviews started pouring in, the real reviews, not the ones that got Rotten Tomatoes up in the 90s. It's like, hey, Warner Brothers, what are you paying for? But the real reviews, when they started coming out, and then seeing the fan reaction as they got 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, yikes. I started, well, okay, obviously this is a crap movie, and I'm not going to go see it, not going to pay for babysitters and all that, and go out to see it. On the flip side, I hate renting movies on iTunes. It's like I'll pay a couple bucks more and own it. So I now own the extended version, and I'm glad I did, because I think it's an okay story. I by no means think it's great. I do enjoy Man of Steel better. I feel like Zack Snyder was given the green light to do whatever he wanted. So he looked at the things in Man of Steel, and the things that I felt worked, he didn't agree with. So he took the things that he felt worked, which again, I didn't think worked, and he went and amped it up. And that's what we have in Batman vs. Superman. I don't think a lot of it is good. I think there are individual scenes that were put together that are brilliant, but Zack Snyder clearly wants things to be beautiful, and he wants to show us that it's beautiful, and he wants to show us that over and over and over again, which is thoroughly annoying. Case in point, when the whole origin story for Batman with him losing his parents, and we see the gun come up between his mom's, or with his mom's pearls on him, and the cocks back and shoots her, and the pearls go flying everywhere. I think we saw that 3 or 4 times. Again, this is the extended version. I have no idea how many times it was shown in the theatrical version, but in my opinion, it was shown far too many times. But there were other scenes like that that were just gorgeous from a cinematic standpoint, but we're just like, why is this in the film? Why is this in the film again? I don't understand why we had to see it from that point of view, or why we had to do a slow motion to just see this beauty across the screen for an extended period of time. And Zack Snyder does that a lot. I did go back and read a couple articles and some of the changes that they made with the extended version, things they added. So again, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going from somebody else's article. But I got a sense, and I'm sorry, I should preface it, that was on Collider. Collider had a nice little description of what's new and what was in the original. It looks like they expanded a little bit on the Jimmy Olsen scene, which, wow, if you're going to do an ode to a classic character, let's try a little harder. What the hell was that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Dumb. It didn't make me mad, I just thought it was dumb. It was just, I still don't understand why they did that. There was a little more build-up with, and I don't remember her name, but the key witness, the black woman who was saying, why did Superman go into her village and indiscriminately kill all these people, and it left her family devastated. I guess there was more of her description and more intrigue, giving to more of the sense that Superman was set up, which I can't fathom how you can't include that in the theatrical version, because it's like, that seems very necessary. There was more evidence to, and again, I don't remember his name, but the guy who was in the wheelchair who blamed Superman and then was mad at Bruce Wayne. He was the one that had the bomb in his wheelchair. He was just a dupe. He really was going in front of that congressional hearing to voice his opinions, and Luther used him to blow him up and blow up the committee, and really, again, set up Superman as the bad guy. So that was interesting, because it was obviously apparent in my cut, but if it didn't come across the theatrical cut, I'm like, well, that's interesting. I guess there was more investigation by Clark Kent on the behalf of the Daily Planet against Perry White's wishes to find out more about the Batman sort of thing. And there was more confrontation between Perry and Clark. Perry wanted him to cover the sports and the fluffy stuff, and Clark was trying to get more at the heart of who this Batman was and what he was doing, which then gives more credence to Superman trying to stop him. And, you know, if you ever light this light up again, I'll end you sort of thing, which to me best sets off the blow up at the end, where Batman refusing to listen to Superman on why he has to fight him, or even if they can come to any kind of truce or agreement so that he doesn't lose his mom. But whatever. And I guess another big one, which I don't understand how this could possibly have worked in the theatrical version, they show Batman breaking into Lex Luthor's facility and stealing the kryptonite. From what I understand, that's not in the theatrical version, which makes no sense then how Batman gets his kryptonite spear and then has the kryptonite grenade launcher. I just don't understand why that wouldn't be in the film. I don't know. I had zero problems with Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought the opening introduction where we rehashed some of the scenes from Man of Steel were great, and it shows his fury and his hatred of Superman. I thought some of Batman's violence was over the top and unnecessary. I'm still a little confused at where Batman is in his history as Batman. I'd like to say I'm going to go back and watch this film again to try and understand that better, but I'm not going to. So I understand if he's more of the Dark Knight Returns, but I don't understand how he got to that point. There's several references to him and the Joker, so obviously he's been going after villains. But I guess in my mind, I don't understand why we jumped this far ahead with him finally confronting Superman versus why didn't this happen sooner, and why is Metropolis only now becoming aware of a Batman? Maybe we'll go back and tell those stories, but I got news for you, Warner Brothers. Ben Affleck is in amazing shape, but he's not getting any younger. So you better tell those stories quickly. I'm very curious where Suicide Squad lands within this timeline, and it might already be online. I just didn't look it up because I'm lazy. I'm a lazy nerd. But I just don't understand it, and I think I'm a well-versed nerd when it comes to things that I've read and understand comic book-wise, so I don't understand where this falls. But again, no problems with Ben Affleck. Really no problems with Jeremy Irons, other than he's not Michael Caine. And I thought Michael Caine did a fantastic job with Christian Bale. But I liked the relationship, which was more, you're my partner, you're in on this with me, you're helping me do everything, versus Michael Caine was helping, but he was always trying to get Bruce Wayne not to be Batman. Always trying to get in his head to make him stop. Whereas this time it seemed like Jeremy Irons had that a little bit, but he was more complicit in working with him to get things done. Sort of Alfred 1 sort of thing. I really enjoyed that. I liked Wonder Woman. I thought they cheesed her up a bit. I loved when she was in civilian clothes, so to speak, as Diana. I thought that was great. The revelation that she was in the picture, that was who she is, which I'm hoping, I can't imagine they're not going to be, but I'm hoping that ties in with her solo movie. I really thought that was great. I thought when she was fighting the Not Doomsday, and I'm going to call him Not Doomsday because it's not Doomsday, when she was fighting Not Doomsday, I thought those were pretty cool, but I thought there were some just cheesy scenes, like she first shows up in battle gear and the wind is just blowing her hair back, and I was like, this isn't a model shoot, come on people. But I thought she was fantastic. I still enjoy Henry Cavill. He's not Christopher Reeve. Nobody's going to be Christopher Reeve. Doesn't matter. Even Brandon Routh I thought was great, but he wasn't Christopher Reeve. I still want to hear the John Williams dun 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 every time I see Superman. And it's just not going to happen. So that's me coming to terms with that. I thought he did great again. I thought Lois Lane was great. I kind of had a problem with Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, but it wasn't awful. It wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen. That was the character he was portraying, that version of Lex Luthor, and I didn't think it was the worst thing in the world. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. I was able to deal with it. How about that? That might be the best thing I can say about it. Laurence Fishburne as Perry White, I think was great. The way he was both a leader I like how they kind of included sort of the digital age and that newspapers are dead, and he realized that, and the stories he's handing out, and why, when, how. The realization when Lois comes to him and says, I need a helicopter. Well, I'm not paying for that. And she's like, it's personal. And he's like, go, just go. He knows. He's human. He gets it. I like that. I like the fight between Batman and Superman far better than I liked Superman and Zod. I thought Zod and Superman just went on forever. It was awful near the end. And I had no problem with Superman killing Zod. You have to do what you have to do. And I thought that was fine. And then he has to live with those repercussions. I hate Doomsday. That's not Doomsday. That is Abomination. It's not Doomsday. And then when he like mutated again and his bones started growing out his back, I'm like, oh, now they're trying to make him more Doomsday. Dumb. So dumb. And I'm fearful, folks. You guys have given me hell on this before, especially with the most recent Darkseid story in the comic books. I do not like the New Gods. And there at the end, when he's talking to Steppenwolf, which is clearly a conduit to the New Gods, man, oh man, that's clearly going to be the introduction of the whole Justice League, or at least that's my opinion, and I just don't want to see the New Gods. I hope they do it well. I hope Zack Snyder's not as involved in all the decisions as he was in this one. I know he's filming it, but I hope he's not as involved. But I just don't like the New Gods. I don't know why. Yes, I get it. Mr. Kirby is cursing me, looking down on me, and wishing the New Gods on me, that I was down in Darkseid's hells. I get it. I just don't enjoy it. I don't. So I hope they do it well, and I hope they do it better than a lot of the comic book stories. That being said, again, I didn't think this was the worst thing ever. I enjoyed it at times. I thought it was a lot of great snippets that didn't necessarily add up to the greatest film ever, but it certainly wasn't the worst film ever. And it might just be that it was because it was the extended cut, and explain a little more. I would recommend checking it out. I wish I could let everybody borrow it, so that you didn't have to buy it yourself, because that frustrates me too. But that being said, can't do it. I would check out the extended cut if you have the option. Just bypass the theatrical version. I can't speak to it, but in my opinion, this made it enough of a movie that was worth watching. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below.